right. Coming at you live from the apocalypse. I'm Britt.
And I'm Jax.
And welcome to Nerdarena, where we talk about fun nerdy topics while drinking our favorite beverage, tea. And today, we have something exciting.
We do. We are talking the apocalypse. What would we do? How would we act? What kind of dynamics do we expect to encounter?
Cannibalism.
Yeah. All sorts of crazy topics. So, if all of that sounds fun to you, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any future videos from us. Let's go.
Let's go. All right, so to start off, what do you think's going to cause the apocalypse? Real quick philosophical question, just dive right in.
I feel like if it was going to be anything, it would be some kind of virus. Okay, I'm just going to interject here for a minute. I have to put it out there that we recorded this video like 3-ish weeks ago. So coronavirus was a thing, but it wasn't as prevalent in our area as it is now. But this is becoming super relevant. So enjoy the rest of the video. Yeah, so we did not plan an apocalypse video around the coronavirus trending topic, but hey, if it works, it works. The shoe fits. So
this might be more relevant than you think.
So yeah, I do think if it was going to be something, it would be some kind of virus. I don't know necessarily about like zombies per se, but like some kind of, don't get me wrong, like I love me a zombie movie, zombie game, zombie anything pretty much, but I'm not sure like what I think would come of said virus, but I do think it would be some kind of virus. Personally.
Are you hoping for like hoping?
In this, I'm here praying, hoping and praying for an apocalypse.
Let me reframe this. In this idea of your picture of what the apocalypse looks like, are you seeing high fatality or high transition? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I feel like I answered that like a newscaster.
Excellent question. Well,
great question. Let me address that. I feel like fatality wouldn't be a way to go to cause like an apocalypse per se, as opposed to like just wiping out the human race. Like, I don't feel like, I mean, granted, other humans may perceive that as an apocalypse, but I feel like in the types of apocalypse that we have come to know and love, it like we're not looking at like wiping out the human race. We're looking at like some kind of virus that does something strange to the human race. So I guess like some kind of virus that would like alter behavior in such a way that then those humans would not be considered like human per se.
Yep.
Maybe it would cause them to like commit mass murders or like eat other humans, or like I don't know what it would cause, but some kind of realm of like a severe behavioral change.
Right, I got you. Something that, while it might not kill high volumes, it counts them down and out and takes down our structure. And that's the big thing. I feel like humans can come back from a lot, but the second that their societal structure is taken out, there you go. Boom, apocalypse.
Yes.
Okay, so big questions. You're out there, the world's crazy, nothing's right. Murder. What do you think about that? How long would it take you to get to that point?
Oh.
And what would push you to it?
Oh, it's such a hard thing. I still feel like I'm answering like a newscaster or like someone on like a talk show interview. I think it would be a lot for me to get to that point. I don't think I would ever be okay with it, but I think I would maybe eventually get to a point where I was like, this is just what it has to be.
Oh, yeah.
kind of thing. What about you?
So I was like, as Jackie's talking, I'm like trying to like manage like how quickly I would turn to murder. I guess on paper it's very easy to say that I would turn to murder as necessary. Like I can be kind of, when it becomes a do or die situation, I kind of like, I get anxious about a lot of things, but when it's a very specific situation, my brain has a very clear picture of what needs to happen.
Yeah.
And I feel like the apocalypse would give me the perfect environment for my brain to be like, this is the one path you gotta do this. You gotta take them out.
Yeah.
And I guess I can't picture exactly what the first murder would look like, but I feel like it would be very hands-off, if you will.
Yes.
But yeah, I feel like the further you get in the apocalypse, the more murders you do.
Yeah. Yeah.
The more automated it becomes, and it's just like picking plants.
Yeah, I completely agree. I feel like my first one would be very, very hard, and I think I would probably be like, oh my God, how could I do such a thing? Like, even though I would likely be driven by a need to survive, a need to protect kind of thing. But I think I would still react to like, that was a life I just took. Like,
I think I would respond differently depending on if I was solo or in a group. And
yeah,
my answer comes down to this. When you're by yourself and the entire societal structure is broken down, you don't have certain roles you have to fulfill, you don't have certain expectations to meet. When you're just on a one yourself versus environment, you survive. But when you're in a group, you still have that interpersonal connections that you have to uphold. Because if I'm in a group with Jackie and she sees me take out Joe Schmo without thinking twice, that starts the entire group dissolving that you see in so many post-apocalyptic things.
Yeah, I can kind of hear what you're saying. I do want to say, if you can hear my dogs barking, I do apologize. If you can't, ignore that comment completely. But to that note, I feel the same way, but I feel the opposite.
Okay.
I feel like if I was alone, I would develop this is going to get like super depressing and sad, but like I would develop this like, what do I have to live for anyway kind of mentality. Because I'm very like my interpersonal relationships are very, very important to me. Like they're the things that like keep me going, you know? So I feel like I would more likely kill Joe Schmo because of my group, as opposed to if I was alone, I would be like, well, Joe Schmo looks like he could beat me anyway. Like,
what do I have to look forward to?
Not that I think I would give up, but like I think that like my drives to protect are much stronger than my drives to survive. And my survival drives only come from my protect drives. It's kind of how I feel. I'm not that I've ever experienced an apocalypse before, but that's kind of how I feel like based off my personality, like where I would go.
I feel like I could do all of the things I don't have time to do now.
Yeah, that's probably true. Like you wouldn't need a job. You could just like pick something you're good at and use like barter and trading for. Do you see yourself hooking up with a group or kind of continuing solo?
I feel like depending on how volatile and fast the apocalypse is, if it's something that happens overnight and the world has gone into flames, you have significantly fewer options and significantly fewer things to kind of manage at that point. But if it's a slightly slower thing, like you hear, oh, New York City's down, San Francisco's down, like if it's a little slower, you can meet up with your friends, your family, whatever. Mm-hmm. But like, if this is the kind of apocalypse with them fast zombies,
the runners.
I mean, I'm gonna try, but yeah, I don't know. If your friends or family and you have a zombie plan for us, let us know in the comments. Or if you have one and you're not immediately close to us, go ahead and share your zombie plan, because this is important stuff. You need to
You
need to make these choices and share with the people you love before the internet's down.
What if it happens tomorrow?
Hopefully it holds off until you see this, but we'll find out.
That's true. What if it happens tomorrow your time?
But yeah, if I have enough time, I feel like I would get Adam. I'd check in with you guys and be like, hey, what's up?
We gotta check in.
Are you like back home yet? Because I know, you grew up somewhere else. Or like, I'd check in. I'd be like, hey, where you at?
I guess more my question comes from like, if you couldn't locate any of your friends or loved ones, would you try, like if you came across groups of strangers, would you try and hook up with groups, or would you stay solo if you couldn't meet up with any of your friends and loved ones?
Strangers?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I wouldn't touch that.
That's kind of where I was going with the question. So, like,
no.
Obviously, like, if anyone we knew was creating groups, like, I would latch onto that in a second. But, like,
no, you're just going to check in.
Yeah. Except apparently I just got to check in.
Oops.
But
yeah, so travel getting back home.
I mean, like me too, though.
Oh,
I don't think the time difference is really that
3
much.
to 4 hours, is that?
Yeah.
Oh.
We're just 3 to 4 hours in opposite directions of each other.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, no, I wouldn't trust anybody.
Yeah, I wouldn't either.
2 things. 1, giant groups blow up immediately, especially at the beginning of apocalypse. If I can cite TV shows and games as scientific references, like Fear the Walking Dead shows you immediately that when you get families together or anything, that just stuff blows up. The Walking Dead, the main franchise, shows you that how many groups have they been through, honestly?
Yeah.
And they're kind of the pros, to be honest.
That's true, yeah.
So immediately, groups are terrible because everyone's really bad at what they do.
At least large groups, yeah.
Yeah, their skill sets are accountants and teachers, like.
I mean, granted, like, large groups are a problem for the same reason large groups are a problem, like, without the apocalypse. So, humans are just, frankly, hard to manage in large groups.
Honestly, truth. But then, the further away you get from, like, the initial day 0 of the apocalypse, the bigger the group is, and the further out you go, the more you have to question, how bad are they?
Yeah.
Because once the environment, once the situation, once the circumstances get more and more dire, how the heck is that town of 30 people existing? Cannibalism comes to mind.
Right, like I was just going to say that kind of circles back to our murder question, like where are we? Are we still like reasonably good people just trying to survive, or are we huge assholes?
Honestly, yeah. And the further in you get, because as many days and months and years passing, there's not an infrastructure making all these resources. So you got to get them some other way.
Yeah.
Would you be doing self-serving things, like just trying to survive, or would you be trying to solve the apocalypse?
Oof, I would not be trying to solve it.
Yeah.
Personally, that would not be my thing. But I don't think I would be self-serving either, because like I said, like I'm very driven by the people around me. So, and I don't think I would hook up with a group of strangers. So I think I'd be that like random like old lady who is like living in that random house that is eventually ransacked by some other humans, because like I would not hook up with a new group of people.
Oh my God.
If my friends and loved ones are gone, I would not end up hooking up with a new group of people. I would be terrified to be alone, so I would just lock myself in my house. And I would just, like, live for as long as I could off the resources I had. Like,
this is so sad and self-aware.
Yeah, like, I would just, I know me, like, I'm terrified of normal humans in a non-apocalyptic world. Like,
yeah, no, yeah.
I cannot go out and try and, like, make friends with people who potentially would just shoot me and eat me. Like, I, like, can't do that, you know? Like,
I worry about that on the daily anyway.
Yeah, like,
I guess that begs the question, what would a group or a random new person have to do to prove to you that they're not bad? Or could they?
It would be really tough.
Yeah.
I think, like, it's so hard.
It's so hard.
It would depend on the person, like, coming. I think if a group came at me, I'd immediately be like, no. For the most part, I think. But if you were like, I don't know, like a mother-kid, father-kid team that came to me and you were looking for food and you were gonna, search my house or whatever because it seemed empty, I would be like, okay, listen, this is my house. But also, like, you guys seem like you need help. And it would very much be like, I think you'd fall into a lot of like stereotype judging situations. Like, you'd look at the people presented in front of you and be like, am I going to trust these people or not? Like, that's a super hard question to ask, especially in such a situation that
it's legitimately life or death. Yeah.
So hard.
Yeah, it's easy to say what you do before you're actually there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm more inclined, especially like the more shows I watch, the more games I play, the more I'm like, by yourself, that one good person you meet up with, maybe it's a kid you came across, who knows?
Yeah. That's kind of what I'm thinking, like smaller groups.
Like, it seems like kids between the ages of, like, 11 and 15 or 16-ish, if they're not already hysterical, they're a perfect blank canvas to have as a good support. Last of Us. Come on.
Yeah.
Can't wait for that HBO adaptation, by the way. So, That's going to be amazing.
I'm also very excited for that.
But yeah, Last of Us, grown man, little girl, they get things done.
Yeah.
And it's good because, like, they trust each other. And, like, small, tiny groups, I think, is, like, the goal here. Granted, eventually, I guess we want to rebuild society, but I'm not going to take that job.
Yeah, like me, like, I'm just kind of like, like, if society rebuilds, it rebuilds. Like, I'm not about changing the world.
It won't be in my time. Like,
yeah.
You're vegan.
I am vegan. Yes.
Would that, like, stop the second the apocalypse drops? Or, like, what's up?
Okay, so this goes into my personal kind of soapbox on veganism. I don't prefer to kill animals for food or abuse animals for resources or anything like that. My main issues, though, do come from, like, the meat and dairy industry that we've created as society.
So it's all done.
Right. So if it came down to me having to get food for myself to survive, I think that it would not matter.
Oh, that's excellent because, that takes out the corrupt element of the meat industry we have. And you're not, like, contributing to something greater that's negative.
I think the mass production of dairy products and meat products and eggs is the problem. I think it's the problem for our environment, and I think it's the problem for the animals themselves. I mean, granted, that's an entirely, like, another topic, but so for me, in an apocalyptic world, I do think I would struggle very much with killing an animal for food, and I would try and use all the resources from that animal that I could to make weapons, to make more food, broths, to make
different tools, maybe.
I don't know, like feathers for warming blankets, and I don't know, like I would try and utilize as much of it as I can and try and make that like animal kill worth it.
So here's something really funny, and this is going to come across really bad. I don't mean to say the only reason I wouldn't resort to cannibalism is this, but it's a very strong one, and it's the reason why I won't, ever. Apocalypse. And it's that neurological not disorder you get, but I don't remember exactly what the main factor is, but essentially from repeatedly consuming human flesh, you can get ticks, you can get sick, you can get and that's something that, especially in a survival situation, you don't want to get. Anything that limits your control over your own body in a position where you're already significantly closer to being down and out than in a regular daily life. So even if human flesh was the only thing that was left, I wouldn't touch it because that's gonna get me sick.
I don't think I would either. I don't know that I even could. I mean, I'm even, like, my whole life, I've obviously not been vegan my whole life, and I've obviously not been vegetarian my whole life. I've gone through, like, phases of both, but, like, even just, like, certain pieces of chicken really gross me out, and beef, and, like, even when I was eating meat, I would still be like, yeah, but this piece is gross.
Like, gristly and
no, I can't, yeah. Like, so, like, to eat, like, a human, I don't think I could. I really don't think I could.
See, for me, the argument stops the second of the risk of a neurological illness. That's
yeah.
I don't even get
I think I did a lot of things before I'd eat a human.
Yeah. Would you relocate to somewhere warmer for more resources, colder to limit zombie mobility, so what are your thoughts on relocation?
Relocation, I feel like definitely there's a lot of factors that go into it. So, like, how far in the future are we? Are we so far in the future that everywhere is getting really extreme climate changes? So are we witnessing, like, extreme cold and extreme heat kind of everywhere? Are we experiencing the hurricanes, the tornadoes, the blizzards, all of that because of, like, global warming type things that creates extremes?
Yeah.
Or are we in a situation kind of similar to now?
Okay.
Similar to now, I would definitely relocate somewhere warmer. I would have more access to resources year round. I could grow food. I could like, survive outside easily. I mean, I know, like, here it's winter where we are right now. There's snow on the ground. It's
terrible. It's
cold. Like, if I had to live outside somewhere building my own shelter, I would freeze. It's very cold.
Oh yeah.
So thinking about that, if we're experiencing severe temperature extremes everywhere, though, I think I would probably not relocate very far, in the hopes that if I was kind of on my own, that maybe friends and family would meet up somewhere nearby, at least within reasonable distance, kind of thing.
I see what you're saying, that, like, if weather isn't as zone specific as it is now, if it's more volatile and weather isn't really an option to pick off of, you'd pick family and friends over trying to find a location that makes sense. I can see that. Yeah, for me, it's rough because going somewhere warm, that's where everyone's going to go. That's where the competition's going to be. That's where you're going to get rated.
Yeah.
Potentially, that's where more illness is going to be, because depending on what the apocalypse is triggered by, people aren't going to be the only ones getting sick.
Yeah.
So what do we have to worry about with the animals? What do we have to worry about with the food? So it's rough because the cold is good because you're more isolated. But then if you're on your own or in a smaller group, you're significantly at a disadvantage against the larger groups in the cities. Because they have all the resources, they have all the warmth, they can just raid through and sweep you out.
I do think I would avoid cities altogether.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's kind of just like a metric that you have to kind of abide by, is avoid cities. It's going to be too large groups of people, and it's going to be too large groups of, like, the infected.
It's rough because, I go back and forth. I'm like, it sucks because you want to get the medication, you want to get the canned food, you want to get all the stuff that's hot topics, but everybody else, as soon as the apocalypse happens, are going to be thinking the same thing.
Yes. And that's why I do think that without severe climate change, a warm place would be better because I could grow food. But that would be my only reasoning to go somewhere warmer, would be for agriculture reasons. But I guess that would also be dependent on, like, what is the state of the earth? Like, can I even grow food?
Right, if it's
apocalyptic
nuclear,
world? Yeah.
If it's nuclear, that's it. You might not be able to.
Yeah. In which case I would have to resort to a city because I would need resources that are already created for me.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. What are your thoughts on if it's transmissible to animals? What are your thoughts on pets if it's not transmissible? What are your thoughts on pets?
Oh my gosh, if it's transmissible, you can't have pets. You can't have a dog because you don't know. You wouldn't know until it's too late. And so that's the rough thing. If it's not transmissible to pets, I'm still partial to not having a dog because unless you have complete control over, not control because that's not quite the connotation I want, but unless you have a perfect training understanding between you and your dog to be able to be like, okay, I see you're upset and you're barking, but we're not barking right now. Unless you have a good command on how to comfort your dog and control their fear response, your dog's gonna get you killed. I'm sorry. I
think we already knew we were gonna disagree on this topic. I think that goes without saying. And I think it's just because of my view of my dogs. Like, I don't think that I would, like, go out, had I lost both my dogs in the apocalypse, I don't think I would go out, see a lonely dog, and be like,
oh, okay,
I love you, I'm gonna take you in, you're mine now. Like, I don't think I would. I would want to. I'm not gonna deny my personality at all. Like, I would want to. I would be untrustworthy of that situation. Especially if it was something that was transmissible to animals.
Oh, yeah.
I would be like, not a good idea, like, let's not.
Oh my God, the second I see a bear running around sick, I'm never being on the floor again.
Oh, no. But my own 2 dogs, the dogs that I currently have, I would protect them with my life. I would give myself up before I'd give them up. It sounds ridiculous. It totally sounds ridiculous. I know a lot of people are going to be like, they're just dogs. But, like,
no, I can see a lot of people agreeing with you. And I love pets. I don't mean to, like, sound like I
No, I totally get it.
Okay, so your perfect idea of if the apocalypse happens, what is the perfect situation for you? Who's available? Where do you go? Stuff like that.
I'm going to be totally honest. If there's a zombie apocalypse, I want my mom around.
Excuse me, yeah?
It sounds crazy. Like, be like, oh my God, I want my mom. But, so, growing up, we used to watch, like, so I used to be not afraid of anything when I was a kid. My mom used to show me, like, scary movies, and I'd be like, that's not scary. So she used to show me all these scary movies. And then she's like a big fan of, like, Lifetime movies. And Mom, if you're watching this, I'm really sorry if you're super embarrassed by this whole tangent that I'm about to go on. But just keep in mind that I said I want you by me when the apocalypse happens.
That's the important part.
But so she had this thing. We used to watch a lot of Lifetime movies and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And she would always, like, you know when, like, you got the bad guy and you get them down and you're like, yeah, they're dead. And then, like, the person thinks they're good, they think they're fine, and then suddenly the bad guy's alive again and he's, like, attacking you, and then you're, like, almost not making it anymore. So, right? So she had this thing that she said all the time. She still says it to me to this day. Head rolling in another room, on the floor in another room. That was not an English sentence.
Try again. Go ahead.
Head rolling on the floor in another room was the thing that she always said. And that meant, like, if you had someone bad in your house, you cut their head off and make sure it is rolling in another room on the floor. Like, you make sure they're dead was, like, the whole kind of premise behind it.
You're not getting back from that.
Yeah. So, like, my mom is a survivalist. Like, I would want her... Because I'm pretty sure I have 0 survival skills.
Oh, no.
So, like, I would want my mom, because granted, she's an intense survivalist, but she's a survivalist, that woman.
Oh, my God, that's awesome.
Let me ask you, if someone you knew became infected,
that would be the same.
Do you feel the same way?
That would be the same as them being dead. The second they become infected, they're dead. The infected is not them.
That's how I would want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I would hope. I mean, granted, I do not wish to experience an apocalypse, but I would hope, being put in that situation, I would hope that that's how I would feel.
Oh yeah, you have to. You can't even leave any room for doubt for that.
Yeah.
Because hopefully it's the kind of thing that really disfigures them, because if they just look a little pale, then that's going to be harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, the second that they are not the person you love, the second they are not something that you can have a relationship with, the second they're not who you know them to be, they're dead.
Yeah.
That's it.
That's how I would hope I would feel. Granted, like, again, it would be harder depending how disfigured they ended up being.
I'm only laughing because every single response I've given is so sociopathic. No groups, no people, no connections. I have to check back in with my family because we haven't updated our apocalypse survival since I've moved out here. That's going to be real hard for me to get to the specific house that they've planned before, so...
What, knocking things up?
If you're my family, message me, please. Before the internet goes out because the apocalypse is nigh.
I do hope we don't encounter an apocalypse, but if we do, now you know how we feel.
Yeah. And if you have any great suggestions based off of the ideas and problems that we brought up, please let us know.
Yeah. Or any more questions. Let us know down in the comments. We'll chat about it.
Yeah, we'll chat about it, and maybe we'll do a part 2.
Yeah.
But yeah, thanks for watching. And if you've got this far with us, please like and subscribe so you can keep up to date with all of the fun, nerdy, and sometimes wacky stuff that we like to talk about.
Yes. We also have social media. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
Yes.
We will leave links in the description below.
All right. Thanks for watching. Share your zombie and survival stories plans with us.
Yes.
And we'll look forward to reading them.
Yeah. And we'll see you in the next one.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.